Soil profiles model the vertical soil properties around and under a foundation. You can assign soil profiles to one or many foundations, or you may assign a unique soil profile to each foundation. Soil profiles have two types, one-layer and multi-layer. One-layer soils have uniform soil properties for the soil profile regardless of depth. Set the type of soil for the profile. This will be used in geotechnical checks. Backfill soils are used for overburden pressure and soil weights above the pad. Top elevation is the elevation of the ground surface. Water depth is the depth of the water table below the ground surface. Termination depth sets an end depth where knowledge of soil properties terminates. For shallow foundations, enter the ultimate bearing capacity to use for soil bearing checks. For pile foundations, enter soil springs to represent piles and pile capacities for geotechnical checks. Multi-layer soils model changing soil properties with depth. Set the number of soil layers and assign a depth and soil type to each layer. The soil layers calculate some properties at mid-depth, so you may wish to break up large layers of one type of soil into a few layers as shown here. Multi-layer soils can calculate ultimate bearing pressure to use with the soil bearing pressure check. Select from various calculation methods and provide a pad width and depth to calculate bearing pressure for. Please note that it's up to the user to assign soil profiles with calculated bearing pressure to pads that are compatible with the pad size used in the calculation. The bearing pressure is calculated at mid-depth, and the bearing pressure taken for the check will be from the soil layer at the depth of pad bottom. To supply your own bearing pressures for each layer, uncheck Auto Calculate and enter values.